To see a couple of them, and I love listening to the discussion and all the learning that was taking place. It was really, really impressive, and some really good conversation. I want to, as I was listening to the different, parts of people's discussion on what tshuva is, I want to just straight read to you one part of the Torah, and I'm not reading it straight. I'm kind of quoting parts of it, but the psukim, the verses are pretty much in order here. And this is straight out of Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 30. The Torah says, and it's talking about, according to some of the commentaries, it's talking about teshuvah itself. What is teshuvah, change, according to the Torah? Says the Torah, or what do we need to know about it? Ki ha-mitzvah hazos asher anochi mitzavcha hayom. This mitzvah, this whole thing about teshuvah, lo nefleisa hi mimcha. It's not far. Right? It's not concealed. Lo rechoka hi, it's not far from you. Lo bashamayim hi, this change, that relationship you want to have, the person you want to become. Lo bashamayim hi, it's not up in heavens. V'lo me'ever leyam, it's not on the other side of the sea. Right? The level of Shabbos and the level of kashrus and the mitzvahs you're going to take on. Where are they? Karov elecha hadaver me'od. It's so close to you. Beficha uvilvavcha la'asoso. Where is it? Where is tshuva? Where is change? Where is the person that I want to be? Beficha uvilvavcha la'asoso. It's in your mouth and it's in your heart to become. That's where it is. The Torah is telling us a very, very, very crucial thing here. It's critical. Sometimes we envision that person that we want to be, we look at other people, look at their level, look what type of home they have. Look what type of marriage they have. Look how kind and caring and loving and patient they are. Look how giving look at the organization they build. Look at the level of tzedakah they are at. And we're like, I can't be that. That's them. That's not me. And the Torah is saying, no. Karov elecha davar me'od. It is with you. There was this doctor, Dr. James Fallon. You can Google him. He was a forensic psychiatrist. And Dr. Fallon did an amazing, amazing thing. He spent his life pretty much studying brain scans, and he would look at brain scans and be able to detect or diagnose things like schizophrenia or someone who's psychotic. Is that the word? Psychopathic. Right? Someone who's psychopathic, he could actually look at a brain scan and tell you if there's something like, someone is a psychopath based on a brain scan. They would fly him all around the world for these massive law court cases where they had to determine whether somebody was actually guilty or maybe it was due to some type of illness. And he would look at the brain scans, he'd be able to tell you, this is the story here, is or isn't. And he spent a large part of his life doing that. And at one point, he decided to switch to looking at brain scans to be able to detect Alzheimer's. And he wanted to start doing this, and he started with his family. So he gets his whole family to take brain scans just so he could start looking at it and examining them. And as he's going through the brain scans of his own family to start examining for Alzheimer's, he was blown away. Because all of a sudden, he sees a scan of somebody who has the exact structure, the exact picture of a psychopath. And of course, it's his family, right? So what is the first thing he do? He goes up to his assistant. He says, check the machines. We're getting the wrong readings. He says, I checked the machines are fine. He said, then you made a mistake. He said, I'm telling you, I didn't make a mistake. I checked and I checked and I checked again. Now all of them are blinded. He doesn't know who's who. So eventually he decides, I need to know. I need to unblind the scans and know who this person is. So I want to tell you what he found. But before I tell you what he found, I want to share a Gemara with you. A Talmud from the Masechah, the tractate of Avodah Zarah. The tractate says that there was a man by the name of Elazar ben Derdaya. And Elazar, although he sounds like quite a nice Jewish boy, unfortunately wasn't raised that way, didn't grow up that way, didn't have that background. In fact, he lived his life stooped in immorality. Whatever you could conjure up in your mind and don't do it, he did it. He would literally just involve himself in all of that. And anywhere where he could seek pleasure, he did. until one day he traveled very far to seek out some pleasure. And his accomplice in the crime said to him, oh, by the way, you know you're never getting into heaven, right? That's what she tells him. And he's shocked. And somehow it hit him like a ton of bricks. And it was the wake-up call in his life. And he leaves. And he sits down between two mountains, the Talmud says. And he cries out to the mountains, mountains, hills, please, I beg you, pray for mercy, pray for me. And the mountains and hills say, come on, we got to pray for ourselves. We can't pray for you. And then he says, heavens, heavens, please pray for me. And the heavens tell him, I'm sorry, but I can't. We got ourselves to pray for. And he says, stars, sun, and moon, please pray for me, please. And they say, I'm sorry, we can't help you. And in the end, he screams out with his, as he puts his head between his legs, and he cries and he weeps and he screams and he proclaims, Ein hadavar talui ela bi. This whole thing, this whole change, everything I've done in my life, if I want to see something different, if I want to see a different person, the whole thing depends not on the sun, not on the moon, not on the stars. Nobody could help me but me. It all depends on me. And the Gemara says, there was a bas kol, a voice that rang out, a heavenly voice that said, Rabbi Elazar ben Derdaya will enter into heaven as he passed away. Now what happened? He gets the name Rabbi. That was the fastest smicha anyone's ever gotten. Rabbinic ordination, 3 seconds. What happened? Gets the name Rabbi and he enters into heaven just from that? What was it? What's the Talmud teaching us? The Talmud's teaching us the essence of tshuva is taking responsibility, is recognizing that nobody is going to change my life for me. No one's going to inspire me to change. Nobody's going to push me to change. No one's going to guilt me to change. Everyone can do all that, inspire, guilt, and push. But the only one who's going to change will be me if I choose to change. Because I have the free will to become the person that the Almighty put me in this world to become. I have the free will to fulfill my potential. Yes, I have it in me to have that marriage, to be that parent, to overcome the anger, to control the addiction. I have it in me to keep that level of Shabbos. Yes, to kasher my home, whatever it is. I have it in me. It's me. It's not that guy. It's not the so on and so forth, the neighbor. I could be the Project Inspire teacher. I'm going to be the mentor next year. That's going to be me. So what happened with Dr. James Fallon? Dr. James Fallon unblinded the brain scans, and he looked, and he was shocked when he saw that the one that had the psychopath scan was himself. Now, most of us would hide that. I'd be like, yeah, everything's fine here. It was my brother, Ari. Blame it on him. It was him. He's a psychopath. But not him. Dr. James Fallon said, it's me. And he writes a book called The Psychopath Within, after spending a long time examining why it is that he didn't become a psychopath or live his life like a typical psychopath. Why didn't he murder people and kill and so on and so forth? Why didn't he? Why did he get married? Why did he become a psychiatrist? Why did he spend his life helping people? And what was interesting was once he saw the scans, he was able to piece together certain parts of his life that were a bit aggressive, narcissistic, perhaps emotionally cut off. There were things that were indicative of a psychopath that he definitely embodied. There's no question about it. But as he examined it, he came up with a few things. One was the way he was raised, the love he got as a child, and he was examining why it is that he thinks he ended up. But bottom line, I think the number one thing was free will. That perhaps we might have it in our DNA. We might have an inclination to be a certain type of person. Maybe naturally I am angry. Naturally I am impatient. Naturally I'm not the best listener. I'm not so giving. That could be true. Naturally Shabbos, kashrus, family purity, this might be tough for me. Naturally that might be true. But that doesn't mean that's who I'm going to be. That's just a hurdle I have to overcome. And he did it. He did it. And what this Talmud teaches us, in Hadavar Tala Elubi, that change, Rabbi Eliezer ben Derdaya, he teaches us that it's only up to me. The only person who's going to change me in life is me. And what Dr. James Fallon teaches us is the same thing. That I might have a predisposition to something, but that doesn't mean that that's what's going to happen in life. I choose how my life is going to play out. I can choose how to react. My tshuva is up to me. I want to share, as I conclude, this with you. I think there are 3 simple steps that we can perhaps implement as we approach Rosh Hashanah. And this is number 1. Realize it's up to me. When am I going to own my life? When am I going to own it and say it's enough is enough? I'm the one who could decide to have that type of Shabbos, that type of home, that type of Judaism, that type of marriage. When am I going to own it? Now. Step 1 is to realize it's up to me and to own your tshuva, to finally make the decision. We want things in life. We say we want to change, but unless we do something about it, then we don't really want to change. We just want to change. So if you haven't actually done something about the person you want to be, then you just want to be that person. You don't actually want to be. You want to be that person. You don't actually want to be the person. So number 1 is make the decision. Finally make the decision that this is who I'm going to be. Realize it's up to you. Number 2, make the change. Think of one small thing that you can do to implement and make that change. Here is the step I'm going to take to start becoming that person. And step 3 is to really implement it. 30 days straight. Some days, some people say 40 days. I'm telling you 30 days. Don't miss a day for 30 days. Number 1, again, make the decision. Who do you want to be? Own it. Number 2, what's this one small change you can make to start moving in that direction? If it's not so small, make it a little bit bigger. And number 3, implement it. 30 days, don't miss a day. Commit to doing it. Finally make the decision. Yossi, do I have 1 more minute?
Got it, 1 more minute.
Okay, so I want to just share one more thing with you. You know, a couple of years ago, I was on an Israel trip, and someone actually here in this group tonight was on the trip with me. But on this trip, the first day we were at the Kotel with Charlie Harari or whatever, or second day at the Kotel, one of the guys says, wow, the Kotel, he says that, I'm not religious, but that Kotel was amazing. Next day we're in Tzvi or whatever, and the guy says, wow, I'm not religious, but this Tzvi place was wow. Next day we hear a great speaker, guy says, I'm not religious, but that was, and I said to the guys, why do you keep saying I'm not religious, but? And they looked at me, they said, because we're not religious. I said, okay. I said, do you eat matzah on Passover? They said, yes. I said, do you hear the shofar on Rosh Hashanah? They said, yes. I said, do you kill? No. Do you steal? No. Adultery? No. I said, that sounds pretty religious to me. I said, that's a lot of religious things. You do all those things. So why do you say you're not religious? Why do you define yourself by what you're not? And I told them then, I don't know if I said it so articulately at the time, but it's become clearer and clearer over time, that if you define yourself by what you're not, then that's all you'll ever be. But if you define yourself by what you are, who knows what you'll become? Set your sights on who you want to be. Not what I'm not. Oh, I'm not really, I'm not. Forget about what you're not. What are you? And what do you want to be? And then implement it. We say Rosh Hashanah is coming up, just another 2 weeks to Rosh Hashanah. The word Shana means year, but the word Shana also is like the word Shinoi, which means to change. It's time to change. It's time to change, and we can all do it. Not by saying one day I'll have that marriage, one day I'll be that parent, one day I'll be patient, one day I'll be in control of my anger, one day I'll be Shomer Shabbos, one day I'll be from, no, not one day, but by saying day one. Today's the day. It starts today. So I want to wish us all a Shana Tova Mituka. We should have a good gebenched yar, as we say, a beautiful, beautiful, happy, sweet new year as we go into it. It should be meaningful for all of us, wherever we are in the world. I want to thank Rabbi Friedman, Rabbi Zakatinsky, Rabbi Barnett, Rabbi Sampson, all the rabbis and rebbitzins that are involved, all the teachers. I want to thank Project Inspire for always inspiring me with such incredible programs. And thank you all for being here tonight. This was really, really so special. So thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Sytner, for a wonderful presentation. Once again, I would like to encourage everyone, it's on the chat, to participate in the virtual dinner that's coming up on September 14th. And once again, I want to thank everyone for coming up on tonight's program. We'll keep you posted on other programs. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Good night.